We have massive news right now in the gold and silver sector. Too much to talk about, but we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. Thank you for joining me here in the basement. $4,000 gold, $60 silver, I'm starting to think is easy. And after you hear what we're going to talk about today, I think you might just agree. We've got two big warnings, and we're going to talk about Trump, but we've got massive breaking news right now in the gold and silver sector in relationship to legal tender legislation. Let's get to that first. Let's go to this breaking news out of Missouri, and then we're going to talk about Florida, and then we're going to talk about Trump. And right now, what we're getting out of Missouri is almost too good to be true. This came from Citizens for Sound Money. This just hit the wire. Missouri is making history. Senator Mike Moon pulled off a masterstroke, adding the Constitutional Money Act onto a major financial omnibus bill and just passed the Missouri Senate 21-10. This is legal tender legislation. This allows you, as a citizen of states that pass this legislation, to use gold and silver as legal tender. Gold and silver, the original forms of decentralized finance. This bold move revived the effort to make physical gold and silver legal tender in Missouri and require the state to accept only electronic gold and silver for debts and taxes. Shout out to Senator Mike Moon. Shout out to the Missouri Freedom Initiative. And the bill now heads to the Senate Fiscal Review Committee Thursday, and then it's off to the House, where it's expected to fly through the next week. But it's not just Missouri, guys. We get some big news out of Florida as well. Florida, which on its own would be one of the biggest economies in the world, is also taking steps to pass legal tender legislation. Remember, this is what your founding fathers put in the Constitution to protect you. Let's head down to Florida, where we see this. We're going to go to Florida politics, and here we go. Florida politics tells us, okay, governor backs gold and silver as legal tender. The senator hasn't taken this up, but it passed the House 114-1. While the war between the House and the governor has been a big talking point this year, Ron DeSantis says he would support a House bill to make gold and silver legal tender. Yes, I would, DeSantis said in Destin when asked if he would back HB 999, which passed last week by the House. So in Florida, so we've got Missouri moving. Now we have Florida, where it's passed the House and now needs to go through the Senate. But the governor of Florida has said, Ron DeSantis, that he would pass the bill. Guys, gold and silver are moving, right? And remember, gold and silver, they're the original forms of DeFi. Do you know what DeFi means? Do you hear that techie term? It's thrown around a lot in the crypto world, but DeFi stands for decentralized finance. That means there's no one central power that controls the value of the assets, and silver and gold are DeFi. And the states are working right now to make it possible for the citizens of these individual states, and it's already passed in a handful of other states, to use gold and silver as legal tender. Hey, thank you for being here. This is a gold and silver focused live stream for the silver and gold community, and also for the crypto community, who's been asking me, requesting that I put together gold and silver content. I've always loved gold and silver. I know you have too, but most importantly, I've always loved you for coming down here to the basement, right? The basement dwellers, hanging out, talking about what we love. It's a big deal you're here. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Super chats and super thanks are never expected, but always appreciated. Now let's hear what Donald Trump. So we know what the states, but what would it mean on a national level if gold and silver were to take on a renewed level of importance? Well, let's just take a quick look at what Donald Trump recently said. This gets very interesting. As Trump said, gold, here's an article from FX Empire. Gold hits record high after Trump revives, quote, the golden rule. Do you know what the golden rule is? We're going to skip through a bunch of this, talking about how well gold has done over the last year or so, and we'll get right to the meat of it, which is highlighted in gold for you. It says, over the weekend, President Donald Trump provided a new catalyst for gold with a bold statement on his Truth Social platform. In a post, the president declared, quote, "He who has the gold makes the rules." This powerful message did not go unnoticed. Trump's post sent gold prices surging to a new historic high within striking distance of $3,500 an ounce as financial markets opened on Monday. Guys, $3,500 an ounce. Do you remember 2 years ago? Remember that bear was blindfolded with $2,500 across, and I said I would take the blindfold off when the gold price hit 2,500, and I got attacked. I got attacked as being a metals pumper. How dare I even throw out there the speculation that gold could hit $2,500. Gold hit $3,500 per ounce on Monday. Needless to say, the bear's blindfold went off. Donald Trump, let's talk about the reason why what Donald Trump said is so important. The golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. Why? Because, like we talked about earlier, gold and silver and crypto, for that matter, are forms of DeFi, decentralized finance. No one entity can control. They're worldwide. They're decentralized. So whoever has it has the power. That's what he is saying. Does that explain why we're seeing on a national level, and now even on a state-by-state level, a renewed interest in gold and silver? Things are getting interesting. Things will continue to get interesting. Let's talk about $4,000 gold. Who's saying that? How about JP Morgan? And there's a lot more as well. Let's go out here to, this is Watcher Guru, and see what they have to say about $4,000 gold. JP Morgan predicts, but it's not just them. But wait, there's more. When gold prices will reach $4,000. Gold is money. Everything else is credit. JP Morgan, 1912. All right, let's go down. I got it highlighted. When will gold prices reach 4,000? JP Morgan. JP Morgan has the answer. Okay. Global Investment Bank, JP Morgan, wrote in its recent report that gold prices could reach $4,000 per ounce mark in Q2 of 2026. Quote, underpinning our forecast for gold prices heading towards $4,000 next year is continued strong investor and central bank gold demand, averaging around 710 tons a quarter net this year. I got a few comments on that, but I'm going to save it. So hold on. Not just JP Morgan. Oh, so there's more, right? Bloomberg commodity strategist Mike McClone recently forecast that gold prices would soon be $4,000. It's only a matter of time, he said, at the something index will reach there in distinctive fashion. So we have JP Morgan. We have JP Morgan themselves. Also, Goldman Sachs is predicting these massive high gold prices. We have Bloomberg, right? And a slew of others. But think about this, and they mentioned it, right? The reason why we can get real excited about this is because the American investors haven't really even started to take part in this situation yet, okay? I think it's like, what, I don't know, 0.5%, 1%, whatever it is. I think I got some data I'll share with you later. But when America still is for now, we're doing a good job of trying to erode this, but we are still the richest country in the world. Think about if we get a little bit, just a touch, right? Those Costco parents, those Costco moms and dads who are buying gold. But what if it really catches on, right? Think about the wave of new investors, the wave of new demand that we could have for gold. And you know what that's going to do to silver. You know, right? I'm telling you, $60 silver, lickety split. I think it's easy. Now, a lot of you might attack me, and that's okay. This is America. I can say what I want. I believe we're going to get $60 silver, lickety split. Okay. Just like I used to say we were going to get $2,500 gold and people thought I was crazy. I know that's my truth, right? Where's that silver bear? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. He's way back there. Can you see him? He's back there, back behind the DirtyMan SAFE. He's got a blindfold on that says $85. It'll come off sooner as opposed to later. Hey, before I forget, I need to thank my channel sponsors. Ledger. Okay. Ledger is the hardware wallet crypto security leader. Please, if you ever get into crypto, you need to check out Ledger. They are the premier company in that area, and I'm proud to have them as a sponsor around Ron's Basement. And MoonPay, they're the fintech leader. Read about MoonPay, learn about MoonPay. If you haven't heard of them yet, you soon will. They're growing like crazy, and they're considered the premier company in the financial technology area. Okay, $4,000 gold, Goldman Sachs. Warnings. I promised you some warnings. I'm going to deliver. We got some warnings, okay? One warning. Number one, what's going on with gold right now is a big warning about what is happening in the American economy. Some people, right? What does it mean when they say it's a sell America moment, right? People are selling stocks. The stock market is still down. People are selling bonds. People are even selling the US dollar. Real estate is hitting a very difficult period of time. What does all that tell us when gold and silver are doing well? Everything else, and that's never really, everybody says, oh, when the stock market goes down, gold and silver go down, because it's always done that. Well, no, wrong. It's not always done that. It has recently done that, so you may be suffering from recency bias, but we're in a situation now that's different, where everything is getting sold. But if you notice gold and silver are doing well, what does that tell us? That tells us there's a big warning about what's going on with the U.S. economy, with the fiscal situation in this country, which is how the government manages our money. That's what fiscal means. And the monetary situation, which is our old friend Jerome Powell. Let's get him out. There he is. This guy. Yeah, remember him? Right? He prints toilet paper money. Okay. Right. And right now he's in a box because he's got a recession coming on one side and inflation on the other. That's called stagflation. He does not like that. Not one bit. Okay. That's the big warning sign. The last time we had that warning sign was the 1970s. And in the 1970s, you might want to check a chart if you like. But the gold price, the silver price, the DeFis of the day went crazy. I happen to think that potentially in this next 10-year period of stagflation, that also cryptocurrencies could do very well. I know I've got some UFD people watching, right? I think the whole sector, anything that's not connected to the dollar, right, that's decentralized can do very, very well. Okay. But it's not just that. Let's all do another warning. I don't want to be just Mr. Positive. And by the way, I got to do my disclaimer. I'm sorry. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay. Don't make any financial decisions based on anything I say. Don't buy gold and silver. Don't buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, crypto. Don't do anything based on anything that I say. I'm just giving you my opinion on things, okay? Things that I'm invested in, what I believe in. But I do believe that we are in for some very, very, very continued lucrative times for the precious metals. But warning, here comes the downer. I don't want to make your blood pressure go up, right? Gold is very, very frothy right now. Okay. It would be normal to see a pullback in gold. Some people, that guy, Jesse Colombo, who's highly respected, I tip my hat to Jesse. He thinks that we could see gold go down to 3,000-ish. Last I read, don't want to put words into his mouth. And I would kind of agree with that. Silver, on the other hand, could still remain strong. And we're seeing a lot of that now. Let's go out and take a look at the current state of the silver market, because it's very interesting what's going on right now between gold and silver. Okay, so we've got gold only down $10 an ounce. This is the futures, about 3,300, and we have silver at $33. But gold is down $11, while silver is up about 0.75 of a percent, or about 25 cents. Silver is doing well while gold is going down, right? And I think that we could continue to see that relative strength in silver to gold as we go through the next few months. In the long term, I think they're both going to do really, really well. But on the near-term horizon, because if you look at that price, right, $33 for silver, $3,300 for gold, you don't have to be Albert Eisenhower to realize that we got about 100-to-1 gold to silver ratio. Are you kidding me? Huh? Come on, buttercups. What's going on here, right? Look, let me show you this. Isn't that beautiful? Don't you love that? Don't you wish you were holding that? I keep just a few ounces of silver here at the house. Look at that. That's a beautiful 1 ounce silver coin. Are you going to tell me? I ask you a very serious question. Would you trade 100 of these for 1 ounce of gold? No way. Look, I'm not giving advice, but I mean, that's crazy, right? And we know that historically the gold to silver ratio, I don't know, has been around 50 or 60. At times it's gotten down in recent history down to 15-to-1. When we see a correction in the gold to silver ratio, if it goes to 50, that means that silver should be $66 an ounce right now. I mean, silver, I think, is definitely going to outperform here in the coming 2 to 3 months. Who knows with gold, right? I mean, if gold stays where it is, if gold goes to 4,000, think, what would that be? Hold on a second. So if gold, where's my calculator? If gold went to 4,000 an ounce and the gold to silver ratio went to 50, which is not out of the question. Hold on. Let's see where we'd be. 4,000. I should be able to, I think that's 80, right? Yeah, that's 80. Don't mind me. I have a degree in accounting and worked for a big four firm. So if we got to a $4,000 gold price and the gold to silver ratio were to go to 50, we would have $80 silver. You know what that means? Can you see him back there? Well, he's really hidden. The gold bear. I don't know. Our silver bear. I'll bring him up. That's the only bear we got blindfolded anymore. You want me to get him right now? I'll prove to you. As usual, I'm wearing shorts. Hold on. Here he comes. Remember him? Huh? Right? That's the silver bear. That's $85 per ounce silver. There he is. $4,000 gold, $50 gold to silver ratio, and that guy still doesn't get his blindfold off until we get to 85. That would be $80 per ounce. Okay, let's get back at it here, guys. So that's the big warning. Gold could be a little blah, blah, blah. But are rich people buying gold and silver? That's the question. That's the question that we need to answer. And let's see it here. Okay, here we go. Do you know who John Paulson is? He's just a billionaire. Okay, we're going to look at a couple quick things. After 15 years, John Paulson is finally winning big on gold. All right, John Paulson made a vast fortune betting against the housing market. It was dubbed the greatest trade ever. So this guy made the greatest trade in the history of the world. And what's he been betting on? Yeah, you got it, right? He's been betting on gold and silver more than a decade and a half after Paulson went big in on gold. The billionaire investor has emerged as one of the winners from the record-setting surge in the price of the precious metal. So we got John Paulson, and he's buying mostly mining stocks, which, by the way, in my opinion, have not even started to reflect the increase that we've had in the gold price, gold or silver, especially the silver mining stocks. I own a bunch of these little silver mining development companies, not huge investments. I spread the money around, but these silver developers in the United States, and I mean, it's unbelievable. And even the big gold mining companies, just my opinion, not financial advice, are still yet to reflect the massive increase that we've seen in the metals prices. These companies are printing money because when gold's, think about it, when gold, I will do silver. When silver's $20 an ounce, it costs the mining companies, whatever, $18 an ounce to get the silver out of the ground. When silver goes to 33, guess what? Their cost doesn't go up. They're fixed. And actually, with oil being down lately, it's actually brought their costs down a little bit. They're just printing money. It's a good time. We need to go. What do you say? Huh? We put our money together and go buy a gold mine or a silver mine. It's absolutely crazy. What are the Chinese doing? We're living in a new world, right? And the Chinese love gold and silver. No doubt about it, right? We're living in a complete new world. Most Americans are asleep. They don't realize this is happening. But the world has changed drastically over the last decade and really drastically over the last 5 years. And the Chinese are ruling the day. We'll go look at the silver and gold price in China in 1 second. But this is just an interesting article that came out about China and gold from Kitco, from Frank Holmes. I like Frank Holmes. Gold SWAT. China is considering setting up overseas gold warehouses. Okay. Basically, the Chinese, you can read this article yourself, right? They're making massive, massive moves in the precious metals arena, massive moves in the world economy. And now they're talking about setting up overseas warehouses that'll be affiliated with their Shanghai Gold Exchange. Guys, there's just things going on all over the place. And again, in the United States, here's some data for you. Here's some breaking data. Gold-backed ETF assets currently represent less than 2% of all ETF assets, down from approximately 8% in 2011. So think about that for a second. What does that tell us? What's the reason why that is so important? Because currently we're at 2% of money, of money in ETFs and gold ETFs. Recently, we were as high as 8%. That's 4 times more money. Okay. And you know the same is true with silver. You know the same is true for silver. Let's go take a look. One more article, then we're going to go look at the Shanghai Gold Exchange. This one, just to give us even more reason to be optimistic about what is happening. This comes from Goldman Sachs. Predicts further fall for the battered dollar. All right. It's from investing.com. I can tell you without boring you what that article says, which is basically Goldman Sachs, like chief economist, is telling us that the dollar, the DXY, could go down by another 20 or 25%. Let's go look at where that is right now. We're always interested in the dollar. There we go. Hold on. Let's pull this up. Let's go check on the DXY index, which compares the dollar. Come on. There we go. Okay, we're still healthy below 100. You're going to want to get mad at me. I understand you can get mad at me. People have been getting mad at me on YouTube for 5 years. But if we look at this on a long-term basis, the critical thing that we need to look at is quite simply, am I on the right page? Yes, I am. Hold on here, guys. We're back. All right, let's get our crayons out. Here we are right here, 100. Let me circle. Oh, wrong thing. 100. See that? 100. There's 100. All right, you're driving me crazy, computer. Start over. 100. That's the DXY index. Here's the 100 line. Okay, guys, we are below the 100 line right here. Okay. Oh. We are below the 100 line. Okay, we're down here. And as you can see, only during that little time and just recently and all the way back there in the 80s were we ever above 100, basically. Okay, so we can go much further down here. This is 75. If we go down there, whoo, Katie, bar the door for precious metals, please. All right, it can get interesting really quick. Let's run out here. Just make sure the silver market's no longer being manipulated. Sure, nobody manipulates the price of silver. Our friend the dude puts out his daily post, and he tells us that yesterday the silver market only traded 467 million paper ounces. So need I remind you that basically means that that the paper silver market, the COMEX and the LBMA, traded the equivalent of about half, probably more than half, of the annual production of all the world's silver mines. Let's see if we can. There he is. Let's go check on the price of silver over. There's Oriental Ghost, who we also love for putting out his good information. These are all on X and Twitter. This is the price of silver in Shanghai. All right, there's silver, AG. That's the China Shanghai Gold Exchange. In China, the price of silver is $35 per ounce. Probably what, 7% above what we have right now in the USA. Hey, while we're out here on the internet, why don't we go just make sure that the United States has not paid its debt off? Hold on. There we go. All right, guys, here we go. Let's just, because we love to look at big numbers, 36,700 billion. Need I remind you that 1 trillion is a million times a million? And of course, we've got interest down here of about $1 trillion, which is making our federal budget deficit go up to about 2 trillion, which feeds right back in and makes the U.S. national debt go up, which makes the interest go up, which makes the deficit go up, which creates what we like to fondly and disgustingly refer to as a debt spiral. The dollar to silver ratio still standing strong, over $1,000 per ounce. Yes, that means that for each 1 ounce of silver produced in the world each year, the United States government is creating 1,000 paper, what I like to call unicorn fart dust, electronic, whatever you want to call it, dollars through the M2 money supply. Hey, let's go look at one more thing, okay? Because we know that the gold and silver community and the gold and silver price watch the Fed very, very closely. We've got a Fed meeting coming up on the 7th of May. I think it's, is it down? Hold on here. Oh, woof. We almost lost our Fed. All right, there's a 92% chance, guys, that rates are going to remain the same at the next Fed meeting. However, this is super interesting. If we go out 1 year, okay, this is April of 2026, and let me draw on here for you. Here is the current rate, the current Fed funds rate, 4.25. We'll just focus on the lower end of the range. It'll keep it simple for us. There's like a 0.2% chance that rate, actually, that would be lower. Wow. So there's like a 0% chance, actually, that rates will be even the same 1 year from now. All of this is much lower here. Let's start here. There's 3.25. So if we draw a line there, we can say that there's basically a 90, if you add all these up, all right, there's a 90% chance that rates 1 year from now are going to be at least 1% lower. Now, that's from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange FedWatch tool. This aggregates all the big money bets in the bond markets. This is the big money. So this is the insiders. And they're basically telling us that we have a 90% chance that a year from now, rates are going to be 1% low or lower. Man, it is just getting super interesting out there. The economy, right? And the reason why is that going to happen? Well, we know, right? The economy's slowing down. What do we get? I don't think, do I have it pulled up here? I don't think I do. Yeah, here I do. Hold on. One more article for us to look at. Okay. This came out last week, and there's a reason why this is so important. Weekly mortgage demand plunges nearly 13% as interest rates hit 2-month high. Mortgage demand is crashing. But think about this. The reason why that is so scary is because we are in the middle of spring. We're in the middle of when the home buying season, when demand for housing should be going through the roof. I was sitting out on the front porch on one of my homemade Adirondack chairs the other day, and my neighbor Ted walked by. Nice guy, very successful real estate agent. He like controls the market around here. Great guy. We were chatting for a minute. He was asking about gold and silver. He's asking about UFD. We were just talking, and I asked him, I was like, how's real estate, Ted? He said, it's slow. It's slow. And what's real scary about that is that St. Louis, Missouri, where I live, we're a lag market, meaning when Texas and Florida real estate markets were exploding higher, in St. Louis, we like lagged. It took a while for our market to catch up. Now that those other markets, I'm hearing Florida's really bad, Texas, North Carolina, so I don't know, whatever, are really slowing down. There's like 30% more supply, all this stuff. St. Louis is a laggard on the slowdown side too. So we could be in for some very interesting times. Look, I wholeheartedly, looking at the big picture, believe lickety split, we're going to get to $60 silver. I believe that the gold price, we could have some short-term turbulence, but I agree with these ideas that we could have $4,000 gold easily by early next year. Look, we could be shocked. It could go much, much higher, or it could go down. Whatever you do with your money, always do it responsibly. Speaking of responsibly, I almost forgot. I want to tell you guys, if you get a chance, right? If you have anything that you might want to bury in your yard, anything of value, maybe you have a safe in your house, maybe you have a safety deposit box, whatever, right? It's good to diversify where you store things. Check out DirtyMan SAFE, right? Remember, this is the safe. You get to be like a pirate. Where did the pirates hide their silver and gold? They buried it in the ground. People are still looking for it today. The DirtyMan SAFE allows you to do that. I'll show you that in 1 second. But it comes with the sleeve, right, that you put. Can you see me? Hello, can you see me? My name is Ron. Listen to the Ron. Now, it comes with this sleeve you bury in the ground. It's got this lid, right? Then it all fits down in there. But this thing is cool. And this is the smallest one. This is the Dirty Girl, okay? And you open it up. And you put whatever floats your boat, whatever you want to put in there. I happen to have a unicorn in there. You store it in there, and then it goes down into that sleeve, and then you put the lid on, and you bury it with dirt, and you remember where you put it. You don't tell anybody, maybe one other person. But it allows you, what really kind of reignited my real interest in DirtyMan was when I read about these fires that went through Los Angeles. And a lot of people had things in fireproof safes, and a lot of it got destroyed because the fires were so intense. And I thought, if they'd had a DirtyMan safe, they'd have been in good shape. I hope you feel like, remember, Ron 10, you get 10% off. But I hope you feel like you're in good shape after joining me here in the basement. It's always a big honor. Everyone from the gold and silver community, everyone from the crypto community, I really believe there's a lot, trust me, I know there's a lot of shared interest between those communities. It boils down to DeFi, right? Decentralized finance. We all like assets, things that aren't controlled by a big central authority. No one central authority can really, on a long-term basis, control the value of silver and gold. And that's what crypto people like about crypto as well, right? It's decentralized. But, look, guys, what I hope to do here in the basement, number one, is create an environment where you feel welcome, right? Where we can come down, talk about the stuff, help protect ourselves, protect our families, but it doesn't happen without you. So thank you. Again, please remember, like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you come back. What else? Share it with your grandma. Number one, all right? Be good to yourself. You deserve it. Okay. Be good to other people, but you got to be good to yourself first. Don't forget, look in the mirror, smile for 3 seconds, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.